Well, my editing skills are crap, but can the same thing be said about Prospect? Stick around and find out. And that's my best shot at like a sci-fi version of the theme from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Tell me what you think. I am Peter Franson from christiangeekcentral.com and Spirit Blade Productions. This is my uncut review of Prospect. The synopsis on IMDb reads, a teenage girl and her father travel to a remote alien moon aiming to strike it rich. They've secured a contract to harvest a large deposit of the elusive gems hidden in the depths of the moon's toxic forest. But there are others roving the wilderness, and the job quickly devolves into a fight to survive. So this is it's listed, at least on Redbox, maybe it was Amazon that listed it this way too, as under the categories of both sci-fi and Western, and I think that's very appropriate. It's very serious and grim, taking lots of inspiration from quote-unquote spaghetti Westerns and you know, the tone that they set for all the grim, gritty Westerns that followed them since then. Even the music and photography styles felt a little bit like Clint Eastwood Westerns every now and then. The plot is also structured like a Western, but it's on an alien planet. After the opening setup of the movie, like maybe the first 20 minutes or so, most of the movie involves this teenage girl traveling alongside a violent and unpredictable prospector that she meets on the planet. And the overarching story is about their relationship and whether or not she can trust him or should trust him, as they both kind of are stuck with each other and are fighting to survive on this hostile, wild planet. And that core is fleshed out by a series of encounters with others on this lawless planet, each of those encounters requiring them to try and, you know, judge the people that they're just now meeting, you know, trying to figure out their motives, their trustworthiness, you know. So it's very much like a Western in that sense, where people are traveling in a wild, untamed land with no laws governing it, and they're all there ultimately to seek their fortune, to seek profit of some kind, and just on a case-by-case basis, they have to figure out if they can trust the people that they are interacting with. So it feels exactly like a Western to me, but with sci-fi trappings, and the two remarkably fit well together, in my opinion. As far as the cast goes, Sophie Thatcher is a new name and a new face to me. She plays the teenage girl named C in this movie. She is mostly in kind of a stoic survival mode throughout, so I don't have a sense of her range as an actress, but I felt like she fit her purpose well in this story. She's comes across as capable yet vulnerable enough to kind of warrant my concern for her survival and be kind of rooting for her as the protagonist. Pedro Pascal is becoming more familiar to me, in at least his face. He usually, I think, plays villains as I've seen him. He fits his role perfectly here, and he is responsible for giving off a lot of that strong Western vibe. He's even got a little bit of a Southern drawl, and he just fits that mold perfectly. We see both his grim toughness, but also some fragile vulnerability as the circumstances demand. You know, he takes some hard knocks and has to deal with some precarious physical situations, and how he portrayed those moments was really engaging for me. So I definitely look forward to seeing him in more movies after this one. As far as the stunts and visuals go, almost entirely practical. They did have some wide CG shots to establish the planet, that kind of thing, but the moment-to-moment stuff they're dealing with, the weapons effects, the kind of like the alien, quote-unquote alien type stuff that they're dealing with, all seem to be practical. You know, the gems that are prospected for on this planet are grown inside of these sort of alien eggs that are embedded in the ground, maybe growing in the ground too. I'm not sure exactly how that works, but you know, it's a combination of digging and like surgical extraction that they're doing out of the ground to get these weird pod things out. Harvesting them, it requires this both extraction and then like this dissection process, and the movie handles that with, you know, wet and sticky kind of creature type effects that aren't complex, but they really sold the reality of those moments for me. Instead of like vacant desert land with open vistas and blowing dust clouds, the movie is in a dense, overgrown forest most of the time, with a constant haze of pollen clouding and floating through the air. Yet it never felt like a set to me. And even though it's like the exact opposite of what you would expect from a Western environment, it still really worked. They really gave good attention to the Foley effects that would be involved. As they do close-ups on feet that are walking through splashing puddles and stuff, and the crunching of foliage as they're trudging their way through the forest. Also, the bulky retro-style tech of the spacesuits, the ships, the equipment, all of that helped to make it feel grounded and earthy to me in a way that I think a good Western should. So I just really, really liked the visual style and the auditory style of how they created and presented this world. I would love to see a series of space westerns in this world, the world of Prospect, given how well it was developed for me visually and auditorily. It was just such a nice treat, an example of how rich and flavored a movie can be without a giant CG effects budget. In fact, I think it's better for not leaning on CG as so many movies do, but instead really giving time to using practical effects and sound effects and just focusing on the right things to sell the world to me. As far as like themes, is there any worthwhile moral, philosophical, or spiritual themes going on that are, present enough, obvious enough that they might trigger worthwhile thought or conversation? I think I'd have to stretch to find natural talking points, thematically speaking. Trust is certainly a major theme in this movie. There are numerous moments where the viewer is, I think, tasked, because of their investment in the protagonist, with evaluating the morals and character of a person, that the protagonist is running into, using very little information at hand, and just going off of first impressions and how they carry themselves, and seemingly no character in the movie, apart from possibly C, is pure and trustworthy, so you're always kind of along with her evaluating, trying to figure out, is this person safe? Can I trust this person? Maybe one possible theme is that people are often not what you expect, for good or ill, or perhaps another theme is the inconsistency and just kind of moral brokenness of all people, as Westerns often put on display. Either way, I don't think a moral theme is stated strongly enough to naturally trigger much thought or conversation in this movie. All right, well, I have no idea what your tastes are in movies, but if I were a time traveler, I'd go back in time and say, Peter, dude, stream this one tonight. You can get it on Redbox, or I think for a little bit less on Amazon. Or better yet, wait a little while and just buy it used or on sale maybe. You'll want to see this movie at least once, and you might even enjoy having it in your collection so that you can view it again later, maybe see if there's any cool special features, and share it with other people. It's a hidden gem of a sci-fi movie that's likely to be among your top 10 of 2019. It's rated R for some violence/bloody images. All right, those are my thoughts. I'd love to get yours in the comments below. This month, if you're a patron of any tier at patreon.com/spiritblade productions, I'm making our genre-bending sci-fi fantasy audio drama Spirit Blade Legacy Edition free forever, first for patrons, which is in a video format that includes all new text commentary taking you behind the scenes. For more information, go on over to patreon.com/spiritblade productions. And then, of course, also, if you want to like, share, subscribe, click that notification bell, or do anything else to help perpetuate this content, I'd be grateful for that. And then I hope you'll join us over at christiangeekcentral.com as we continue to geek out and seek the truth.